Scorpio races. Boy my blood. Chapter 3. Sean hands me the reins, slick with his sweat and gritty with sand flung up by Fallon's hooves. He is breathless and his shoulders are shaking, so I reach out and rest my hand on it. How was it? I ask. Sean scoffs. How was it? Sean repeats. It was exhilarating. Fallon paws the sand. He wants to run more. He loves running. If you enter him in the races next year, you'll have no problem with being in the pack. If you can keep him straight and get out front first, you will win. I nod. He's fast, but you knew that when you looked at him, I say easily. Did Malvin agree to sell you coal? Sean is a reclusive type of man, and he gazed at me as if to see if I was serious. Deciding that it didn't really matter if I knew or not, he shrugged to himself. He said that if I won this year, I could buy him, Sean replies. I clap him on the shoulder. Are you a good bet this year? I question. It's always a big if, but I wouldn't count out Puck. She's a real spitfire. I nod, take the reins in a tighter grip. Can you give me a leg so I can ride him back? I ask. Sean's eyes widen. I need my saddle, but you know that. You mean to ride this horse bareback? I do, I reply. My pants and my boots will keep most of the magic in him from reaching me, and I have my gloves with me, I say. Sean moves me aside gently and removes his saddle, setting it down beside the rock again. He asks for my iron bar and I give it to him. He ties the halter into reins and passes the metal bar over Fallon's sharp teeth and fastens the sides with red ribbons. He tosses the bridle back beside his saddle and links his fingers together to give me a boost. I jump onto Fallon's back and take the lead rope in tight fingers. He paws the ground, ready to run, and I wave to Sean before letting my stallion carry me. He's ever mindful of his sea. This I cannot blame him for, but I keep him true to his path. The iron that Sean put in Fallon's mouth is just enough for me to be able to stop him, or keep him at a slow canter with all of my strength. I steer for him home, letting him leap over a few low hedges. I learned to ride bareback, so even on the back of a Kapell Ishka, I feel comfortable and at ease. Fallon takes me home quickly, and when I reach home, Father's there. He sees my makeshift bridle and me riding bareback and rolls his eyes. On a Kapell Ishka, bareback, he sighs. You really did inherit your mother's courage. I smile at this. Mother died bringing in one of the Kapell Ishka. It took her by surprise. When she touched it, and its magic seized her, and the horse dragged her into the sea and likely ate her. I promised myself that I would never make the same mistake. I take Fallon into the barn, and take the iron rod from his mouth. He works his jaw as a horse would when kicked there. I clipped the lead rope and untied the side that Sean had made into a bridle. Fallon is more than happy when I show him the hose again, and I spend more time than necessary hosing him off because he enjoys it so much. His skin ripples and his magic sings to me, but I block it out. He prances in place and I shut off the water. Fallon shakes water from his coat, and I return him to his stall. It is late, so I go ahead and give him his dinner, before looking up the barn and heading inside for my own nighttime meal. It was the first day of the Scorpio races, and I decided that Fallon was ready to race. There were a few shorter races early in the day, and I thought that the 8-furlong race at 10 would be good for him to start in. He proved his ability yesterday. He could go much further without any problems, and he seemed well-spirited this morning, so the run yesterday had not tired him or winded him. I went to the tack room and withdrew a large racing bridle made for a Kapell Ishka and a hand-tooled saddle with short leathers. Among many things in the tack room, there was a silver cloth that I folded over my arm to use as a saddle pad, and I set them all down so I could carefully groom Fallon. He stood deathly still. I didn't need to spit to keep him so, and I wondered idly if he knew what was going on. I brushed his whole body, pulled pieces of sea grass from his tail and brushed it, never trusting him, and when I was finished, I led him from the stall and began to tack him. There was enough money in my pocket for me to enter 1 or 2 races. I wanted to see Fallon if Fallon was going to recover from the race. Race riding was different from a flat gallop. I had to slow him and speed him as well as get him to a pack. and it could be taxing on even the fittest and strongest of the Kappa Ishka. I led Fallon out to the same stone wall that I used to mount him the first time, and I tossed myself over his back, seating firmly and getting my feet in the stirrups quickly. I wore tan riding breeches, tall boots, and a pair of gloves. My shirt was black, and I wore a silvery armband to match the cloth that Fallon wore. Father came out into the pasture. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I'm racing him today," I replied without emotion. Father stared at me, then fired up his car and jumped in. It was an old beat-up thing, but it ran well, and Father loved it. "You need to warm him up. Why don't you follow me on horseback?" Father said. I nodded, heeling Fallon into a trot. His trot was comfortable and smooth. His long strides made my first pony's gallop look like nothing. Fallon tossed his white mane and keened. I used the bit to pop him hard in the mouth. He stopped. Father gunned the motor as I asked for more speed from Fallon. He jumped into a canter and flew alongside the car. Father whooped as we reached Scarmouth. "Damn, he's one fast son of a—" "Father," I interrupted. He chuckled. "Get along to the beach, Mara. I'm going to place a bet." I drew a circle around Fallon and asked a rider to look after him, a man my father knew and I could trust to make sure that nobody disturbed the sand around Fallon. Inside the butcher's shop sits Peg Bratton. She holds chalk in her hands, writing down the names of the horses and riders for today's lower grade races. She sees me and frowns. "There's a girl on the beach already, Mara. Don't think you're proving anything by showing up with her little grey, and I know Puck is in the race. I'm racing in the 8th furlong," I say factually. Mara Walsh, Fallon. Peg regards the chalkboard and sighs. "It's your dignity, girl." "Would you like to see what I'm riding today?" I ask. I know Peg has seen the Kappa Ishka, but she has not seen mine. She looks around, seeing that despite the bedding and onlookers, she can spare a moment. She nods, following me out to the storefront. It is chaos. The fisherman I had left Fallon in the care of now holds the reins in his hands and is fighting with the stallion. Fallon keens loudly to the sea. I suppose the noise inside the butcher's shop deafened me to the outside. Sean Kendrick steps onto the scene just as I am about to jump forward to calm my stallion. He coos to Fallon, his low voice soothing. He makes the sound of the sea in Fallon's ear and he calms. Sean notices me and returns the reins to my hands. The fisherman is scared and out of breath. "Someone stepped in the line and he got out of your circle. I was trying to save it," I say casually. "You should have been more mindful. Sean, thank you. There are few on this beach who could have fixed this problem." Peg looks over Fallon and enters the shop again, probably to enter me in the race. Sean nods, moving beside me, linking his fingers together to offer me a boost. I accept the offer, seating myself comfortably on Fallon's back. Sean smiles. "I'm betting on you, Walsh," he says. That makes 2. I am ushered onto the beach. I suppose some had given up resisting girls on the beach since Puck had been fighting all these last 2 weeks. I sit crouched low over Fallon's back, waiting for the racemaster to lift the rail and let us run. I'm counting my breaths, keeping time in them and matching them to Fallon's. He snorts, ready to run, and is heavy in my hands. I watch the men line up. Some of them have charmed the hell out of their mounts, and I'm not sure how they're supposed to be fast. Others manhandle them and beat them with wicked-looking crops. One man even wears a pair of long spurs. I wait for the rail to be lifted. I can tell that Fallon wants to be the first away from the start by his quiver. I know he will be. We rally, and the rail raises.